Hey, welcome back to another episode of 3 Uncool Cats. Bob to my left. Well, I guess Alan to my left, too.
Yes.
Your humble host, Andrew. Today, I brought a little avant-garde band, maybe, to this table today. Trying to expand the horizons of some people around here. Bob.
And
Alan, maybe. I don't know if he might have heard them too. But we're going to talk about Cake and the album Fasion Nugget. To me, again, they're a little hodgepodge of basically every genre you've ever heard. They systematically put them together and make some glorious music. John McCrae, the singer, has a delivery that I absolutely love. I love the band. I love everything about them. I love the fact they're stretching the boundaries. They're not in any sort of pigeonholed genre. They're willing to do whatever it is they do and not be afraid about that. They also use one of the greatest percussion instruments ever invented called the vibra-slap. That sounds like teeth rattling in a bag. So with that, I'm going to ask the boys what they thought of this album. Whoever wants to jump in first, feel free.
if you want, I'm allowing you to make that choice.
I would like you to start.
Okay.
Maybe leave a little place for me in the middle somewhere.
Okay. I would like to tell a story first.
Uh-oh.
That involves this
There
band.
was a boy named Jed.
No. So as we've talked about, I was fortunate enough to be a stand-up comedian in the 90s, right? So, and as we've been fortunate enough to know,
At the Zesto.
I introduced you guys during the Black Crowes album review of my friend Beth. Okay? Now,
Not Ellen.
Who, let me just sidetrack. Beth subscribed. Let's all be like Beth. Subscribe to the channel,
be
please.
a Beth. And
Absolutely.
she sent somebody, a friend of hers in Ireland,
Yes.
and said, subscribe.
So all you people that have friends in Ireland, tell them to subscribe
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, be an Irish Beth.
There's probably a lot of those, isn't there?
Right. So we thank you, Beth, and
Yes, we do.
the other folks that she
Yes.
put onto us. So anyway, so this is a Beth story as well. Okay, So Beth and her boyfriend said the next time that you take it, you're on a gig that we could go, like a one-nighter or something, we'd like to go with you. So one of my other comedian friends calls me up and says, "Hey, dude, I got a gig in Evansville, Indiana." He goes, "Let's go." And I say, "Got a couple folks want to go. Bring them," right? So we hop in the car, and we're headed to Evansville, Indiana. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning, and somehow we start talking about music. And somebody said, "Hey, I wish I could remember the song." They said, "This song, blah, 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 it's whomever." And I went, "No, that's Cake." And Beth goes, "You're a freaking idiot. That's not Cake." Now, the funny thing is I don't know why I thought it was Cake, because I had never heard the band before.
Yeah.
But I just knew in my head, this freaking band, it's Cake. And she was like, "No, it's not Cake." So we get into this huge argument at 3 o'clock in the morning. We pull off at a truck stop to, get some gas. I'm in the bathroom with Gary, the guy, and he goes, "I'm leaving y'all's asses. If y'all stop talking about Cake, I'm done. So, but anyway, that's my Cake story, okay? I didn't know who Cake was, but for whatever, how sometimes you just get it in your head.
Yep.
No, this is who that is.
Yep.
I've heard a snippet somewhere, and that's who it is. All right, so I'll say this. Even that night, I have never listened to Cake until you presented
Wow.
this album.
I'm very surprised.
And I'm
Considering you're a Weezer fan, I'm kind of surprised by
Yeah.
that, to be honest with
Well, I'll tell you what. There's a time in everybody's life where
There's a time in a man's life.
I almost said that where he's no longer a boy.
Son?
It's like
It's time for you to get the hell out of this house.
That's what they said. When I got my first kiss, like we all do, and you go, my life is.
Yep.
I have
Different.
a whole new world perspective. I had that moment with this band.
Hopefully in a good way.
My life has changed. Okay, I'm telling you, I experienced something magical with this album. It literally felt like that first time I had a Frenchie. Okay,
Excellent.
you know,
Wow.
so I'm like, the old me is gone. There's a new man. I freaking loved this album.
Excellent.
For everything about it.
Excellent.
Everything. I told my wife, I was like, we're gonna go listen to an album, and she said no. She wasn't in the mood, so you know what? I got in the freaking truck and I just drove around and listened to this album. I love it, Andrew.
You were able to listen to it all at one shot?
I couldn't stop.
And this is another
my.
one. This is kind of, you know, my wife and I, we have our bands. This is one of our bands. And when you see, they are probably
Andy,
one of
we've
the
got to
most,
have a talk.
this is probably one of the most fun bands
Oh,
you can go
love
on.
it.
Their concerts are an absolute riot.
I can't even imagine. Look, I there were moments, you know, I tried to go all the way through the album,
Yep.
right? Listen, even if it's a song I hate, I'm just like, I'm going to listen to the whole song. This was the first time since we've done this. We've talked about doing it, but we've not. There were certain songs that I went, I'm listening to that again.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got the wrong band.
I'm telling you, I
I'm
love
so
this.
sorry.
Look, I'm telling you, there's so much going on with these songs, but it worked.
Yep.
It worked for me. I heard vibes of Spoon.
There's a, yeah.
I heard
I
Spoon.
guess some of maybe
Marshall
some of the
Tucker
delivery.
band.
This is so far from the Marshall Tucker band.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, I don't look. What I love. Okay, this has become one of my little inside things I love to do. Is when you and I are throwing out these names like Spoon. I
Yep.
hear some Spoon in
Yeah,
here. And
he's-
I know
Bob's like,
Bob's
what
thinking,
the
what the? It's just Spoon. so
I don't know
anyway,
what you guys are up to.
it's like we're on the inside. He's on the outside of this. But that's what.
That's right. That's right.
So
Pick on old Bob.
these are so
We
far.
will.
Yeah. These songs are so far outside the mainstream, which I love anyway. But most of the time when you hear them, if it gets way outside mainstream, it's just not good sometimes.
Yep.
There is I don't like gatekeepers, but there is an argument for gatekeepers
Yeah,
sometimes because
yeah.
they weed out the crap.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is so good. And the way they construct songs, there were moments I was like, I didn't see that going there. It doesn't go where you think it's going to
Yep,
go
yep.
sometimes.
I
And
agree.
the horns, to me, there's not a bad song on the album.
Yep.
Not a single bad song on the album. And there was a couple of songs that would start out, and I go, oh, I'm not liking it. And by the time they got to the chorus, I'm like,
Yep.
oh my God, this is an amazing song. This is the best song ever written in the history of songs, right? So I say all that to sum it up in loved it. Absolutely loved it. This will be in rotation.
Awesome.
Heavy rotation.
I will say they got a lot of albums out. You got to check them all out.
See,
They're
and
awesome.
here I told Heather this. I said, honey, I love this band so much. I'm afraid to listen to another album
Nope,
because I'm afraid
you
I'm
will
going to
not be
hate it.
disappointed. Bob will be disappointed because they also kind of have that vibe, but I love their lyrics. His delivery to me, I just love the delivery that he has, the
Yeah.
way he sings his songs. The bass is just mind blowing. The way he fits some of those things in there.
And
The trumpet. What band uses a trumpet?
that well.
And one thing I love about these type of bands, how do you find people that will put out your vision?
Yeah.
Like, I can't find 4 people that listen to really the same thing I do.
Yeah.
And like, you have this
I can
odd band,
understand that.
and you have this odd band made of these people. Oh, I fully understand. But you have this group of people that got together and somehow, I understand what you're trying to do. Let's do it. Like, that's why I get quote unquote weird bands like that that have their own sound.
I
It's
love
like,
it.
How do you find people that understand the vision
Yeah.
and are able to make it happen?
To buy into
It's just, to me, I just love the originality of that.
Yes.
Can you describe what the song "Race Car Ya-Ya's"
Oh,
is
To me,
all
it's about the car people. It's like the car,
I'm a car people.
and that's why I thought you would understand, like the car group and those people
Actually, I thought it was hilarious.
with large fuzzy
The-
dice hanging like
Yes.
testicles from their rearview mirrors.
yeah, we'll
So I
have
had
to bleep that out, I guess.
I had to go to Amazon and I don't want my order of the fuzzy dice anymore because now that's on my mind.
That's one of the things that I saw in their lyric writing. They brought out very clever analogies
Yeah.
And that was one of them.
Yep.
And I thought, I never looked at it that way, but that's somebody trying to be
Yep.
something.
And I like stick shifts and safety belts when he's talking about I don't like bucket seats because I want the girl to be right beside me. Like just his
way over in a bucket seat.
the imagery and the way he says that. I mean, it's quirky yet it's very straightforward at the same time.
And how can you do that?
And it just like paints that perfect image of what he's trying to convey.
Well, do I have a minute to go over these 3 pages of
Yes,
notes
we do.
I took?
We have a couple minutes.
Okay.
I'm going to see how long I'm going to time it.
Well, here's the thing.
Set it for 1 minute.
Yeah.
This album. Now give me 10. Give me 10.
I'll do this. I'll just hit stopwatch. Tell me when you're ready.
Go. Okay. Started off with Frank Sinatra, okay? The very first song on the album. And I thought, what in the world is that trumpet player doing? I played trumpet. And I thought...
It's got the little mute thing. What do you call that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and when you watch the video of that song, which I did.
Yep.
Do you all watch it? Okay, I did.
Yep. Well, I've seen them live. I know what they're like.
He's playing the trumpet, and probably only I caught this. It's this. The song has a muted trumpet
Yep.
in it, and he's playing it without a mute. And I thought they did that on purpose.
Yep.
But what I saw in this song, the trumpet player is in his own world as far as what he's playing.
All right. Before you even get into it, just think about what you're saying. We're talking about, I guess, rock music.
Indie rock.
And you're talking about the trumpet player.
right.
That in itself shows how glorious this band is.
I agree. 'Cause I was thinking, you're sitting there and you've already written a great song.
Yep.
It works, and you go,
Yep.
it's missing a trumpet.
Yep.
We need a trumpet.
A trumpet and a vibroslap. What more
Well,
could you ask for?
He's also the keyboard player. Actually, John McCrae plays the vibroslap.
Yep, he does.
You know?
Yep.
And what killed me... I'm going to let you see my notes. Anyway. Anyway.
That's a big set of...
he takes the vibroslap off the stool and goes...
And it's
and
still
puts
going.
it down. And that's the only place in the song.
Right, but I love it because it stands out.
Yep.
And he's playing no-name guitar. I don't know if you picked that up. However...
Yeah, that acoustic, that weird
Here's the
acoustic that he
thing
plays.
that when I heard him talking, and they released this album, I think it's this album, about the time that Nirvana was hot on the scene.
That's tough to release any album around that one.
Well,
that blew up the world.
What he was talking about doing, they were so frustrated with the pop culture and people all trying to jump on the bandwagon, and where rock music used to be about rebellion against the system, and now it was cool to be in rock music, and if you weren't in rock music, you were out. So they were frustrated with that. So they, instead of turning their amps up on 11, they turned them up on 4.
I love it. Yeah.
And that was their angle with a lot of these songs. Okay, I'm going to jump right to the punch. I've got notes on every song.
Yeah. I do too.
Absolutely loved it.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I tell you what, the trumpet player kept
With
me...
your comment outside of us, I thought you hated it. When
I
you're
know.
like, if it's an album, if you can call it that. I'm like,
Well,
I even told Andy, I go, Bob's going to hate this
I
one.
can't let you in on what's going on inside until we get here.
Right.
But that's the thing. The trumpet kept me cracked up.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's part of why I did it, because in one episode he talked about your trumpet experience.
Yes.
I'm like, Bob might like that.
And I thought, this guy is in his own little world. But then he gets to one where he's playing, it sounds like Mexican music.
Oh,
I
yep.
said that too. I was like, man, it's mariachi.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Yep.
And that was in with the rest of the song. I
Yep.
thought, he's not always off on a tangent, but even when he's on a tangent,
Yeah.
it works.
See, that's the thing. It's almost like they
It works
invited him
with
in. They go, we really need a horn player. And then he gets in there and he does whatever the hell he wants to do. And then they're like, he's doing whatever the hell he wants to do. Then listen back and they go, well, hell, let's just let him do whatever he wants to do.
Sounds good to me.
It's the most fun album I've listened to, and I'll tell you what it did for me. And I hate to get philosophical. That word you used earlier,
Philosophical.
Yeah.
You hate to philosophize.
Philosophize on it, but I had to ask myself, where have I been? And I really had to look back on my life and say, why was I stuck in certain pockets?
Yeah.
And I know there was a time that I was into the Eagles, and still am. I love them, but almost exclusively.
Yeah.
And then, I was in contemporary Christian music, playing it, learning it to be able to play. And then, so that was crowding out anything else.
Yeah.
And then when I got to a point later where I had some freedom, then I would go back to the Eagles. Yeah. So what happened was, what happened was this whole world kind of went on in this whole great big thing, and I missed it.
Because look, you said something too. You said it was fun. I caught myself smiling.
Yeah, that's the greatest thing. Yeah.
I did too.
And not just because it was good. I'm like, I was having fun. Yeah. I was mesmerized at times. I was bedazzled. I was all the great words that you just feel like, man, these guys worked some magic on me.
Friend is a 4-letter word,
yes.
And it's FRI end.
The best part is too is when we said "end" is the only part of the word that I heard.
Exactly.
Oh, yes. Like that's another one of the it's cheeky, but dang, that's pretty deep right there.
Who else would have thought that?
End is the only part of the word that I heard. Call me morbid or absurd. But to me, coming from you, friend is a 4-letter word. Damn, that's right in your face, man. Boom.
But you know what else I heard 10 years after in that song?
Huh.
Listen, next time you listen to it. That was an old band that I used to listen to, and I heard that style, and like you said, they go through a lot of different styles in this.
Sometimes all in one song too.
But sometimes I think they're tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
What they're doing with that Willie Nelson song.
Oh, what is it? Not so freaking good though.
Yep. Sad songs and waltzes.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's Willie Nelson all over the place. Yeah. He wrote it.
Well, what about "I Will Survive"?
Yeah, that cover is.
Oh my gosh!
He does. There's a Linda Ronstadt song that they cover
subtracted
too.
On that.
So on "I Will Survive," I sing that a lot.
Yep.
I do. And then sometimes I'll look at Heather and I'll sing that line, about where it is. It says, where whatever that lyric is, where I should have locked my freaking door.
Yep.
I'll look at her sometimes. I'll just sing a little line for her. And she's like, I thought we were in a good place. Well, I just sing it though because I love the song, right? But I always hear that there are certain songs that even when you hear a remake of it, you can't get beyond the original.
Yep.
This to me,
it's a total. It's like their song.
Gosh, it is.
Yep.
They owned it. And here's the thing I noticed with the guitar playing. The first few songs, I'm like, this guy's not a good guitar player. He's got great tone.
Yep.
It's just like, I'm like, is he really? Does he know what he's playing?
Yep.
And then you realize
he knows exactly.
He knows.
What he's doing.
He's playing.
He fits it right.
There were times I'm like, that's kind of sloppy. But
I'm going to tell you something. The same thing where something goes completely wild. Open book.
I love.
Yeah. Yes.
Their vocal harmonies on that, I've got to tell you a story because this is what it did to me. When I heard that song and their harmony, there are mismatched melody lines.
Yes.
The trumpet player's doing it. He's off somewhere, and the melody of the song is going somewhere totally different. And then their harmonies go into this discord.
Oh,
it's almost like a resonant chord where it's out of tune, but it sounds perfect.
It's like nails on a chalkboard. I've got to tell you, when I don't know how old I was, probably 20, 21, a friend of mine had bought an airplane, single engine plane. I'm not kidding you. And he said, "Come on,
Man,
let's
when
go
I was
for a
20,
ride."
my buddies weren't buying airplanes.
They're probably buying weed.
Well, maybe he had already done that, but anyway.
Maybe that's how he got the plane.
Well,
maybe.
the question before did he know how to fly the plane?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you the story.
He flew it once.
He had taken lessons, so he wanted to take me up, and what possessed me to get in the plane?
You're
But
like,
anyway,
this sounds like a great idea. Let's go.
we're taking off in this cow pasture, and we're bumping, and we get up in the air, and of course, in a plane, single engine plane, all you can see is sky. You're riding along, and of course, once in a while he'll bank and say, "That's so and so's house," and "That's so and so's house." And then we're flying along, and all of a sudden, he's climbing, and he's banking at the same time. And that makes your body not know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, on a motorcycle, you lean into the turns.
Yeah.
When the plane's going up and sideways, it's like your body is just out of.
Yeah.
It's not working.
Yeah.
That's what this song did with me.
Okay.
When they would hold that note, and I thought, what is that? And I remembered the airplane ride, and I thought, that is so cool. How did they do that?
Okay, so I love the
That's
airplane
one of my
story.
favorite songs.
Thank you for the airplane story. That's a quirky, which fits
I'm
with this
glad
band.
you made it through. Let's be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I'm here.
So,
I'll tell you some other stories about the hay baler.
okay.
That's how he lost his finger.
Yeah. Oh, I have a story about a guy that lost his finger once. But anyway, so when this song started, I had a moment like you. I was like, oh my. I was just. It was the only song that made me anxious. And when
Yeah.
they started doing that little out of sync harmony,
Yep.
it sounded like the voices that are in my head before I start taking medicine.
Yes.
And I was like, they're telling me to do unknowable things, and I'm not on medicine. So, but
Gummies.
anyway, but what I'm getting at is I loved every song on this album.
Yep.
Yeah, I did
It's a
too.
magical album for me. But for me, this was the weakest song. But still, it was brilliant because they chose to do it.
Yeah.
What a bold move.
My first time through it, I thought, I don't like that.
Yeah.
But then after I listened to it a couple times, I thought, well, what's wrong with being quirky? It's okay. I'll tell you another one. I love The Distance.
Yeah,
Where
that
the
was
guy's out on a
their big
racetrack.
single on this album was that.
Everybody's
Yep.
left the stadium, and the cup's been given to somebody, and he's still
Yep.
driving and striving.
Right, yeah.
I love it.
I love it. I wrote all caps in my notes on that.
Yep.
I love it.
And she'll come back to me. I said my thought was if all country sounded like that, I'd be a country fan.
Well,
Very good,
that is
yes.
my very favorite song on the album.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it. Steel guitar,
Yep.
bass, drums.
Yeah.
It was all perfect.
Yeah.
Like you said about Blues Traveler
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
This has got some dynamite songs.
It's so good.
Perfect songs.
And the lap steel on this. And again,
Yep.
the way they approach country, you're like, well, that's not how.
Yep.
You hear other bands that'll do some sort of, and it's whatever, it's country or their version of country. This is like, we're going to do what we think country should sound like what you just said. But with the lap steel, I've been a lap steel fan now for about 10 or 15 years. I used to hate it. But now I'm almost like a Hammond B3.
It's pretty interesting.
If it's done right,
Yep.
you're like, oh my gosh, that is.
Yep.
And on this one, he was playing harmonics as during the rhythm parts.
Yeah.
The guy's just singing. He's doing those little harmonics, and I'm like, that was bold too.
Yep.
Because
they're amazing.
Because you and I know a lot of singers, and what a singer will do when you're trying to do something like that while they're singing, they'll just look at you.
You're invading their space.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It's like, can you turn the guitar down in a monitor?
So Andrew, we used to play with this one person. I'm not gonna say the name. And this person, we did not have a whole lot of stage volume. We didn't. But this person would always just turn around and they would do this. They go, and it was always at me, and I'm like,
If I turn it any lower, I'm not going
It's
to play.
on one.
I'm going to be
Well,
acoustic.
of course,
if I turn
Alan,
it.
he's
I did. There was
a
times I
diva lead player. He's got her on 10.
Yeah, there would be times that she'd give me that look, and then she'd start singing, and I start doing little lead lines under her, just because come on, man, just sing
And then
louder.
she'd say, Can you turn me up in the monitor?
And then Heather, and there was this other girl. I said one time, I said, look, we were really cramped in this one. I said, look, I had my amp turned away. I said, I feel I'm a little loud. And they went, we'll just sing louder. I'm like, oh my God, that was so sexy. Yes. All right. So anyway.
All right, I'm going to run through some of my notes because it really, the album meant a lot to me.
Well, good. Wow.
And one of my question for this time, and I'll say it now, would it be something you're going to listen to again on a regular basis? Yes.
Yes.
It is.
Over and over and over.
So the distance. It was a lot about self-doubt, but the guy keeps on working, and eventually he loses what's important to him, but he keeps on striving. He keeps on driving. Friend is a 4-letter word. You know, we've already gone over that one. Open book, we've gone over. Daria.
Yeah.
I didn't have any notes for that.
I thought it was almost like their Doors Gloria song. When he would say Daria, I always thought Gloria. Glora. All right, so go ahead.
I Will Survive. I had a lot of notes. They lost some points, obviously.
What?
They lost 17 points for the R word. I don't use F
word.
because people would know what it was. So anyway, the R word.
R word.
Yeah, they had that in there, and then but
They
it was
didn't lose points for the F word. That's good. They should get extra. The F word should constitute new points, so it washes those out.
It's a balance, Bob. It's a balance.
Well, it was a cool
F comes
rendition.
before R, so the F is more points than the R word.
No, that would mean they would lose that many points. See, the horn tickled me. I just can't get over the trumpet player. And it was all the way through this thing but there were a couple places where he was playing seriously with the the melody line.
And then by then I'm like, what the hell, dude? Go back to doing what you were doing.
Yeah, I loved it when he was just having fun. Stick shifts and safety belts was one of my very favorite.
I mean, that just that's another one.
Because
the imagery
who thinks about that?
Yeah.
Nobody thinks about that, but I remember being in a 65 Chevy pickup.
Yep.
And the best thing is when you turn like that, they slide right over.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, but today's cars, they're all, like Japanese, they mentioned in there.
Look, I wrote love
cars.
all in caps 5 times on that one. It was so good.
Man. Good guitar parts. Nugget, it was their rendition of C-Rap. You know what that is. Yeah. And the R word they used 15 times, as I counted. So that's
what is the R word?
Times 17.
Whisper it in my ear. Write it down. I don't know what the R word is.
I'm using R instead of F, okay?
Oh.
Yeah. So that people don't know. You guys are so thick.
We're slow.
I was like, what the hell? What's a bad word that starts with R?
All you gotta do is think about that particular song, and you'll know exactly.
So I thought,
but they lost 255 points in that song.
Well,
but I will.
Which one? Stick shifts and safety belt?
No,
Nugget.
Nugget. Look, to me, that was here on that one. It was so quirky, and that heavy drum beat. It made me want to be a gangster, but not an angry one.
Yep.
I want to I want to cut you, but I really feel good about cutting you. Is that okay?
Well, and I got kind of their point. If you look beyond that word, if you look beyond that word, I like that song. So I'll probably take less points off in the end. But anyway, the Italian leather sofa.
I love that.
Yeah, what a great...
I know those people.
Dressed in a healthy breast that bounce on his Italian
See,
leather.
I wasn't going to say that.
So when it started, I'm like, what's the deal with the Italian? Why are you writing a song about an Italian? And I Googled the lyrics and went, oh, I know why he's writing. I know why he likes this sofa.
And see, I said it right here. I know this couple. They are customers of mine. I do. And it's about people. They don't care about each other as long as they've got their stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, what they want out of this relationship. Yep. And I thought it was genius. I loved the overall album. I loved the melodies, the accents, the bridges, especially the horn.
Yeah.
He uses a Sinatra voice cadence
Oh,
in a
yeah.
couple places.
Yep.
Hey, where
That you just it doesn't
to
it
me-
doesn't it's not flowing with the
To me, I kind when you say that, I think of perhaps.
Yes.
Like the way he kind of did perhaps.
Yes.
Like, so nonchalant and just kind of,
Yes.
throwing it out there.
but that again, that's genius.
right, and
Yeah.
being out of cadence, like on "I Will Survive."
Yes.
There at the end when he starts, and you thought you'd just drop by, he's just kind of rapping it. He's
Yep.
punching you with it, and I'm like. Again, it was so refreshing. I didn't expect it. It's one of those things that if you'd have stopped listening to that song, you would have missed
Yeah.
a magical.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I missed the first part of one.
Right. So go ahead.
Great harmonies.
Oh yeah.
I like the recitation when he would just be talking.
Yes. Yes.
And then it reminds me of what, if this makes any sense, the music that I played when I was just getting started was very amateur.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they are amateur, but they reminded me of the kind of music we would pick to try to learn.
Yep.
And sad songs and waltzes we've already gone over. Multiply the heartaches. That is the formula for my scoring system.
Okay.
You know.
So.
All right. Well, let's get into that now.
Yeah, because I don't understand. So take us deeper.
So pull up the lyrics to
Okay.
Multiply the heartaches. And
You got it, Andrew?
No. I'll have to play the song.
Okay. Multiply. Oh, I just happen to have. Look, I literally typed in multiply, and that's what pulled up.
and there you go.
All right, so
See, Big
Go
Brother's
to your
watching
chorus.
okay, so the chorus is subtract one love and multiply the heartaches.
Yeah.
Divide the tears by every time a heart breaks.
Right.
Then the answer only tells us that it's too late. Subtract one love and multiply the heartaches. Subtract one love and multiply the heartaches.
There you go. That's what I do.
That's a bit obscure and deep, but I love it.
Well,
I love it.
you know, you got to have a plan.
I think you described Bob right there.
Yeah.
Obscure.
And
Deep.
And I'm going to tell you what let me tell you what their score was, because they obviously they lost some. But I'll tell you another thing. I was sitting at the kitchen table one morning drinking my coffee, and I said, "How many points can each song get?" And 323 came to mind. So I said, "Okay, we'll go with that." And I said,
So I says to myself, I
I
said
said,
323.
So I said, well, how many am I going to take away for bad words? Well, 17, obviously.
I mean,
you know,
what else would you do?
All right. So when I added up how many points they got off for bad words, it came up to 323.
Whoa.
So I said,
No way. Did you really?
I really did. And I said, that's a sign. So out of a possible 4522 minus the 323, they got 4,199 points, which is above average.
How do we know it's above
I know.
average?
What is average? How many points is that?
Well, I'd have to go through a lot to
Yeah,
show
there's a
you
lot of
that.
calculation for
Look,
that.
I got to tell you, one
But
of
I
my
love
favorite
the album and the band. I'll listen to it.
Awesome.
one of my favorite things about this thing that we're doing is Bob's scoring system.
That's great.
I absolutely love it.
Well, it's a very simple, complicated process.
So, there are certain songs I'll sing to Heather whenever for whatever. Sometimes I'm being
Yeah.
silly, sometimes I'm feeling freaky or whatever.
And does she score you?
She probably does.
Does she take off for the bad
She probably
words?
takes off a lot. Some of my songs do get a little naughty. But anyway, never gonna give you up.
Yep.
That's a song I'll sing to her all the time.
Yep.
From now on, I'm just gonna look at her and just sing some of these lyrics. You know,
That
like-
only had one bad word in it 3 times.
So I'm never gonna stop the way I feel about you, baby Joe. I
See,
can't
that's
live
a cover
without you.
song, too. I forget. I think that's
Yeah.
a Linda Ronstadt song or something. I think.
Yeah, I love
Yep.
how they just took.
I
these
forgot
songs
to
and made
deduct
them their
points
own.
for that. Okay, I'll let it go.
Yeah.
We'll
So
let it go this time.
yeah. So Andrew,
Andrew,
Well, I think I already know my
You won.
answer to my usual question.
yes, good choice.
what an amazing album! I am
Awesome.
truly.
I would recommend it.
Truly,
Kate.
I'm not saying this. This is an album and a band that I am now fully in love with, and it's in
Awesome.
rotation.
Well, damn. We're going to end on that note because I didn't get any better than that. So, as always, like, subscribe. Remember, 100 subscribers will listen to
Taylor Swift.
some sad Taylor Swift album.
That'll be.
That's gonna
So
hurt.
please
That'll be
subscribe, like, tell your neighbors. As always, stay uncool. Like what you like. Deuces.